All right, well, we're live. I mean, the camera's not on yet. Whoa. CPU usage, real high.
Yeah, and then did it.
Yeah, but it's playing, I believe, a 4K video. So I'll just downsize both of those. It's probably the issue.
Well, like, if they're playing the 4Ks, like I said,
Well, Jeremiah,
it's a lot smoother.
is it?
I'll tell you that. Yeah. It's crazy.
CPU usage. I mean, we're holding FPS perfectly. CPU usage still very high. All right, let's just roll it. But you see us?
Yes, we're good. There it is.
Let's see if CPU drops.
You changed it to episode 26.
Yes, I did. Dropped way low. Ladies and gentlemen, I mean, we're still at 65%. Not great. Not great. Old laptop, not great, but better than 90. FPS is holding. Do we look smooth?
Just switching over now. Took a long time. Holy cow.
I think OBS has a delay built in, I saw.
Yeah, it looks all right.
Looks all right?
Yeah.
It's been worse.
I mean, we haven't gotten to that part yet.
That's how far. Wow, I apologize to everyone who's about to see that, because there was like a while of just arm raising to test.
There you go. There it is. Yeah.
Does it look all right?
Yeah, it looks all right.
Is it choppy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not necessarily.
It's weird because you saw it live and now you're watching it on a screen,
right?
Probably. All right, ladies and gentlemen.
It's my whole life.
Zero Intentions Podcast. Kyle, Jeremiah. We're a little late today. Been doing a lot of troubleshooting. Just trying to get...
With little to no solutions.
Yeah, we care mostly about audio. Like, we're...
Yeah. And that seems to be giving us the most grief.
Yeah, it is. Well, yeah, it is, but it sounds good to them. The most grief is really the laptop, but we care more about the audio. Like, I think our audio setups cost more than I could buy this computer for at this time. So
probably. Yep, passed up an opportunity to buy a new computer today. So.
You did, and I was thinking if you were saying you wanted it, I was gonna say let's do a mobile stream. I'll go with you.
Yeah.
To Micro Center.
I thought about that. Yeah.
And I'll just set up the little because I go small. I'll just set up the little tripod, and we'll just do it live and talk about what we're going to do, and that's the podcast for the day.
Yep. I mean, it was a good deal, but like I said, the reviews were underwhelming. Deal. So
yeah, I saw low brightness. I forget what it's measured in. Dits, lits. What's it measured in?
It depends.
Dims,
LUTs.
I don't know. So
depends
that was
on what it is.
That was low, and I saw that it gets hot.
So,
but any laptop.
But nits for display. Yeah, that's right. Yep.
Nits. And they all get hot. A 3060 in a laptop's gonna get hot, or the fans are gonna be really loud. Like
right. That's what people are saying. Yes.
There's no
runs hot, fans are loud. Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of them do. I mean, you're running a pretty big graphics card in a very small chassis.
Yes.
With no cooling. So that's not a lay in bed with it on your lap on the blankets.
Definitely not. No.
That's how you fry
unless
something.
You like getting scorched.
Yeah, or ruining, melting everything. Thermal paste. You don't need that where we're going.
Right.
Gonna melt that to glue. Yep. So you passed. I passed. If it was $5.99, well, I think it was $6.99, right? Or was it $7?
It was $7.99. So
$7.99?
$800. Yeah. So what? $850 around there.
So
$6. So
I want to spend $600 on a laptop with a 3060.
Yeah.
I'll jump on it. I mean, that's a great deal.
Sure.
But I would jump on it.
I would definitely sacrifice a lot of other specs for that price. Yeah.
Are you? Some people I talk to are just they won't buy anything without Ryzen now.
Oh, really?
I really like Intel. I know Ryzen does better money for money for performance, but Intel is just, I don't know, maybe I'm now too old to like care. I'm like, nah, Intel's been around forever. We don't
They do have
Intel.
the track record, so it's but I don't know. It comes down to preference, really. I mean, nowadays, but
my preference is Windows sucks, but I don't know. I don't like Linux any better.
It does, yeah. And trying to deal with the hassle of Linux is, it's worse. More pain than I want to deal with.
But I think what makes Windows worse is Linux, you're going into it knowing you have to like troubleshoot and do that stuff, whereas Windows, you shouldn't have to. Yeah. But you do.
Right.
Unless you're on Windows 7.
Yeah. Or they break it every single update. That's what I'm getting sick of. Yeah. It's like stop, whatever you're doing, introducing new features, whatever it is,
no one's asking.
Don't do that.
No one's
I don't
asking.
need new features. I don't need any new features. I needed this to work.
Right.
So.
Well, we bought brand new laptop, refurbished, but not really, but brand new laptop from Dell, workstation, so 32 gigs RAM, one of the NVIDIA Quattro series. I mean, things beefy. SSDs, 100% CPU usage from Windows on a fresh install.
Right.
From Dell.
Yeah.
There was no. I tried reinstalling it twice. They just sent me a brand new hard drive, and we're like, just use your Windows code, and here's a brand new. Dell
and
just sent a brand new hard drive.
You know, the root of the problem there is that there's too many different configurations and options that, you know, you can't plan for everything. So people are gonna experience issues. Yeah,
Windows just broke it.
Yeah.
If you just type in 100% CPU usage and hit enter, nothing else, immediately everyone's Windows.
Yeah.
It's a Windows problem.
Right.
Update, boom, Windows problem. Now your CPU is way high.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm disliking, because look, when I got this laptop, 2013, loved Windows. There was almost no bloatware. Like Internet Explorer's on there, and no one used it. I mean, I used it to download Chrome, but
exactly
that is your purpose.
Yes. Right.
And I like Firefox better, but Chrome with logging in once and everything just being there is very nice.
Yeah. The thing that really bothers me a lot, though, is that for both Firefox and Chrome, like when they both first came on the scene, they were extremely lightweight. And I'm like, yes, this is exactly what I want. And then boom, like
bloated up.
Bloated to
I mean, the joke is, you have 32 gigs RAM, you can open 2 tabs of Chrome.
Yeah, right.
Like so, and that's what I'm saying is that was the problem. Like having this laptop, it was still pretty new to have SSDs in laptops. Mm-hmm. Maybe not new, but it's like an expensive feature, and I got a good price on it. This thing would boot up way fast. Maybe light gaming, beautifully fast. No bloatware. Open up internet, boom, it's there. Google, boom, there. And now everything, like Windows 10, it's just sluggish. Like everything I'm doing feels like I'm trudging through mud. Yeah. There's an update every other day. Right. On my work computer, it's always asking.
A lot of that stuff, you know, is like, one, incompetence on their part, but two, it's also planned. Like, that's how they get you to buy new hardware, like phones, computers, all that kind of stuff. They purposely, you know, don't like change the configuration so that you know, newer configurations, newer computers are optimized. Like the you know, updates are optimized for those configurations, and extremely poorly optimized for older ones.
And I'm glad you said the word optimized, because we're seeing it in video games now too. They're not optimizing. Yeah. They're just building on top of it and leaving all of their old code. Yeah. Because they just don't care. Like Chrome is just updating in like a second. So they're just adding more on top, and they're not going through and getting rid of it, which is why it's such a big download now. Yeah. And you see that with all the Call of Duties. You get a new game and it's like 300 gigabytes. And it's like, why? Oh, they didn't optimize. Right. They basically built a new game on top of the new update on top of your old one.
I was never very good at that, but my buddy was amazing at optimizing his web code. His you know, he's a web developer.
Did you see what that guy did for Grand Theft Auto?
No.
He optimized it for them. Yeah. Like he just optimized it at home and was telling people. He did it for Rockstar, and Rockstar implemented. Like he could get his loading times cut by like 75%. Wow. Just simple, you know, going in there and optimizing it. And you're talking Rockstar, a huge company. They just didn't care. Right. Like, nah, why would we optimize it? We're playing on 3090s and, you know, it's 200 gigs of RAM. Like, they don't care. Right. So, sad. Yeah. Yeah. That we have to deal with that. Right. And then, of course, they do what you said.
But, you know, to that point there, that's why I'm a big fan of, you know, open source, you know, software, because, you know, there's people out there that literally, like, they don't have anything better to do than to work on this. You know, and
open source,
my goal
everything.
is to make this better, and and then someone else says, you know, I see what you've done here, and I have a fix for this one area that you missed. Yeah.
I mean, if you look at things that are fairly open, like there's so many things that are proprietary, and that like Apple doesn't even want you to open their stuff.
Right.
But if you look at
cars, they don't even consider that you own.
No, I know. I see them fighting for that. Yeah. But if everything,
I paid for it. Like if I don't own it, then just give it to me for free, and I'll just use it.
It says in your terms of service you don't own.
Right. That's
property.
Ridiculous. Yeah.
I mean, none of those hold up in court, but they can say it.
Yeah.
But if you look at anything that's open source, cars, I mean, huge jumps because everyone's copying each other and you're moving. I mean, I've got instruments here. Yeah. We've perfected. You're not going to come up with a new ground-breaking guitar. That's it. Like, the first guy made one, and then people started copying it, and you learn what's good and bad. Done. If we just did that with software, we could be making leaps and bounds.
Yeah.
If we all just ran.
Right.
And it is bad for business, so I get it. Because if everything's free and open, who's going to be working on it?
Right.
And there's no business to stand through, security reasons. You do need some. But if more things were open
that's
source.
the thing. It's like, I'm a fan of capitalism to a point. I believe that anyone that wants to get rich should be able to.
Right.
But then if you are the person that's standing in the way of someone else walking that same path, that's what I have a problem with.
Yeah.
So
hello, Ford, for buying hydrogen cars and crushing it.
Yes.
Because it hurts them.
Yeah. Make as much money as you want. Just don't prevent someone else from doing the same.
Yep. That they want to do that.
Right.
That's what they're in it for.
Right.
And they're doing planned, like you said, they're obsoleting things planned.
Yes.
Like they know what's weird is by the time your next iPhone comes out, they know what the next one's going to be.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's already planned. They know.
Which is frustrating because they're incredibly lazy and they're like, yeah, it sucks, but, we'll give you a little sliver of something better.
Yeah, because they know you're going to buy it.
Right.
So they're slowing themselves down.
Right.
Which I see different in the computer world. I'm sure there's a little bit, but not much because people want the next best thing.
Yeah.
So they're releasing it like as soon as it's ready to go. Like graphics cards aren't coming out every year, and I don't think they could. We're not jumping that high because they want to release the next big thing. They're not doing small steps. They're not just like, here's a little bit better. Here's a little, because I think people in the computer world that are building their own are smarter than that.
Yeah.
They know they'll just wait. So they'll just give it to you when it's ready.
Yeah.
Phones, they know you want it or you need a phone, so they're just going to keep dishing what you can.
Yeah, so someone, I was looking up reviews for the laptop. Someone was talking about, they're speculating that the 4000 series for the NVIDIA is going to be announced like Q3, Q4, something like that.
Yeah, I've seen the prices already coming down, and I've seen one company, I forget who it is already trying to drive the price down. Like they want the manufacturer of it, I forget who it is. It's not NVIDIA. It's not Corsair, but it's one of the producers of a 3080 series, the 3000 series. They're like, yes, we see the prices are very high. We're trying to get that down.
Right.
From MSRP for you. I forget who that was though. It was like a good guy company, but also the first company to do that is the good guy. I mean, you can make yourself good guy very easily.
Right. Yeah, I think that's the other frustrating thing is that that is an actual like aspect of business, a business strategy right there is that so many people forget
it's
or don't
EVGA.
do.
That's who's wanting to do it.
That you can, basically if you, engender yourself with the customer, like right off the bat, that you could do better business,
right?
Especially over the long run. Like if you don't come into the scene, we're going to do the same thing everyone else does, and we're a new option. Okay, you might do some business, but if you say, we want to make, we designed our company to be the best company for the consumer.
Yeah.
Yeah, right off the bat, boom.
You're getting people.
Skyrocket. Yeah.
What I just learned about Toyota in general, so the current president of Toyota, his dad was the president, and this is a Toyota. His last name is Toyota. Mm-hmm. But he wanted to join the company when he was younger, and his dad said, I don't want you, this isn't for you. And he went and got a master's degree, I believe, in engineering or something, and then he worked at the company for like 16 years low. Like his dad didn't just be like, hey, come on in to corporate. And he followed the philosophy of driving the cars, like making it for the consumer. It's not like you're not all here. So what he did was he made a racing team where he used a fake name, and they weren't allowed to be affiliated with Toyota. because he wasn't even supposed to be doing it, where they were driving older Supras every day around the Nürburgring track. And then they were taking used Toyotas and they were doing 24-hour races with it because they believed in Genshi, you know what I'm talking about. Because they wanted, they said the best way to test the car would be to drive it in a 24-hour race. And that's how you're going to get the best quality. So he followed that for a long time, and then he became president. And now everyone knows he still races occasionally under that fake name. But that's what Toyota does. That's why they last forever, because they're not just engineer designing a car, a little bit of testing, production. Like, they're taking these cars and putting it through everything themselves. They're in the car. The CEOs are in the car, and they're like, well, this is what's wrong with it. We're noticing this, and that's why they last forever. It's not just planned, well, the customer will buy it.
Right.
You know, like Chevy.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll just call it a Malibu. It's the next year Malibu. It's a little bit different. You're going to buy it. Toyota's like, no, we're going to push this car to its limits, and then it's okay. So they'll scrap cars if they're not holding up. And that's why they're the biggest car manufacturer in the world. And number 3 as well. 1 is Toyota, 3 is Lexus, but it's the same company, so that's impressive.
Right.
To be 1 and 3.
Mm-hmm.
And their number, I think it's the other way around. They're also 1 and 3 in consumer ratings. Lexus number 1, Toyota number 3. So, something cool. I mean, if companies did that more, you know, for the customer, like they're not. Yes. Of course, Toyota wants to make money. It's not just the president. There's a ton of people that say, but the fact that their company is doing it and going, what will be best for our customer? What will last the longest?
Yes.
And
there's a lot to be said for, for customer loyalty, basically. Like, you know, it's hard to build, for sure. Very easy to lose. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, Dodge lost me.
You know, I mean, just looking at all the companies that I was, I identified with, like
Blizzard.
Yes,
Disney.
they were, part of my, like, I consider this to be, like, at the very core of my interests, and they lost me, and it's like,
And you won't go back?
No.
I've been trying to get him to play Diablo.
I won't even do it. Yeah. They already have my money. Like, I do not play those games anymore. They get nothing out of the fact that, positive or negative about me playing a game I already own. I still won't do it.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, brands like cars, like I was a huge Dodge guy. I mean, I didn't even have the best Dodge vehicle, but they were always so good, cutting edge with horsepower for performance.
Right.
Huge Dodge fanboy. I mean, I'm not going to say they're the best, but I was like, this is the best company to buy for. And once they got rid of some of their warranties and their cars started breaking and rusting more frequently like they do now, I was like, nothing's setting them apart anymore.
Right. Yeah.
They have the same warranty as Ford and Chevy or GM. So I was like, well, why would I go back to Dodge?
Right.
And then I look at Toyota and their long standing. If I'm buying a new car, it's going to be a Toyota. It's cheaper, more features, they run forever.
Right. And see, that's the thing, is like, the older generation who worked for, car manufacturers growing up, like, to even consider, like, to tell them, hey, I own a foreign car. It blows their mind. But here's the thing. They do not make cars the way that they used to make cars.
No.
So for me to just buy American because it's American, but it's crap at the same time.
Well, what's crazy is
it's like,
these foreign cars are made in the U.S.
Right.
And the U.S. manufacturers are all made.
Yes.
None of the big three, GM, Ford, and Stellantis now, but Chrysler, Dodge.
Sure.
None of those three are made in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
They're designed here. Yeah, we're headquartered here, but they're in Mexico and Canada.
Yeah.
They're not here.
Right.
Toyota, primarily here. They're
Yes.
building the cars in the United States.
That's right. Yeah. Speaking of which, I might actually have to go down to the plant. Not my plant, but
a plant.
A plant coming up here. Who knows? We'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's crazy. I mean, and when we went and bought, so my stepdad used to drive for, and he drove basically a Toyota truck from the Back to the Future movies. But when he met my mom, her stepdad wouldn't let him park in the driveway because he hated foreigns that much.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And, when he bought his Elantra that you drive now, He bought another one, the one you're driving, because of how great they were for the money and how good they run. And so when Joy was getting her first, I was like, nope, we're going straight to GM. Like, I have experience with them. I've worked for them. They're a great company. Drove it, and I was like, yeah, it's a GM product. It's just, there you go. It's a Chevy. Then for kicks, I was like, well, let's try a Kia or a Hyundai because my family loves them. Miles above. $5,000 cheaper, had every option that would be on the premium Chevy. Warranty was like 5 years, like more. And so we got that, and then we went and bought a brand new because it was used. Way better. They're like, yeah, all your oil changes first 5 years taken care of. Warranty for 10 years. 5 years after that, you get a lower warranty. We're cheaper. We have every feature you could ever want.
Right. Speaking of which, my boss bought a Jeep Grand Cherokee recently, and someone tried to steal it the other day.
Already?
Yes.
Yeah, people steal Dodges like crazy. Where does he live?
He lives I think like over by just outside of Royal Oak, I think, something like that.
Okay, so. Yeah, that's where it's happening.
Yeah.
For people on the news, when you see Michigan cars stolen, it's all near Detroit, Royal Oak, Dearborn.
Right.
They're getting stolen.
Yeah.
Like crazy.
They were home too. They were still up.
Yeah, no,
and there were 3 guys.
They're
there for like 17 minutes trying to steal this car.
Oh, and he didn't notice?
No, he didn't notice.
There was a video on Reddit. A guy, they were trying to steal his Grand Cherokee. They're pulling in with a tow truck into his cul-de-sac, and he goes outside with his dog, and he's just holding his 9mm, and he just kind of like casually walks. And they're pretending they're just driving around, and he just kind of walks and stares them down. And
nothing going on.
Yeah, walks to the end of the driveway and just kind of looks at him like, keep on going.
I mean, if you want something to be going on here, we can.
Do you want this car more than your life?
Right?
Is it worth it to you?
Yeah. So anyway, but I say that because I was going to bring up the fact that his oil changes aren't covered. Brand new car.
No, most
not
aren't
covered. I'm like, what in the world? Like, I don't understand that. Like, why
most
are
car
they
companies
not?
don't. The only people that do, if you buy new, is the dealership itself.
Right. But that's the thing. The dealership's not giving him anything.
No
dealership warranty. No oil changes. I'm like, what?
Yeah, they won't anymore.
You're kidding me.
It's been gone for about 5 years. When Dodge got rid of their warranties, when everyone started changing, except Kia and Hyundai. It's not a dealership oil change.
Why should I buy from you if I get nothing from?
They don't care anymore. Yeah. They know you want a car.
Right.
And that's why we're seeing so much dealer markup.
Yeah.
And it's and I know Ford wants to fight it. Dodge did really well fighting it when they had a Viper.
See, I will only go through people I know, like, if to a dealership.
Right.
Like, I'm not just gonna walk into a dealership and say, "Let me see what you have." Like, no way.
Oh, we did.
I did that with my Camaro, and got screwed over with that. My had to refinance immediately because the financing through the dealership was was awful.
That's where they make their money.
Yeah,
the financing.
It was terrible. So,
but Dodge tried with the Viper. If you ordered it, and any car that was above MSRP would get built, it would get dropped straight to the end of the line. So that really helped. And they also, if you order the car, so dealers some above, if you ordered it for a person, they would customize nameplates for them, but you couldn't do it after the fact. So that was also to stop dealers from just ordering the car. Like they wanted, because if you're going to spend $100,000 on a Viper, you want everything.
Yeah.
You want the free custom nameplates they're doing for your car.
Right.
You want all that. So it worked really well. GM tried it during COVID. They're like, yeah, okay, Corvette, we're going to do the same thing Dodge did. Immediately out the window. They just stopped caring because they were only given to the dealers to sell the most. And they're like, we don't care. Take it. And I guess Ford's going to try something because it's ridiculous. No one wants to buy from a car company when the dealer's charging over MSRP.
Right.
$10,000, $15,000. They don't want to pay it.
Right.
And you're going to sell less cars. And maybe at the beginning of COVID, everyone's like, all right, I need a car. We'll do it. But we're way past that now.
Yeah.
No one wants to do it anymore.
Right.
Dealers are just greedy.
Yes.
And because the dealers lobbied, manufacturers can't sell direct to consumer. I think it happened in the 70s or 80s. That's why we have dealerships, because the feds don't like people just buying.
Right.
That's why Tesla was a big problem.
Yeah.
I mean, Tesla kind of sells direct to consumer. I know in some states do. Michigan couldn't have a Tesla dealer for the first 5 years.
I am not a fan of laws in general, but I'm especially not a fan of laws that protect corporations over citizens.
Oh, well. So there's a lot of that.
There is a lot of that. Yes. Yep, because that's where the politicians make their money. These corporations, I
just read that it's not for much either. Like politicians get all this money from their campaign fund, from citizens, tons of money.
Sure.
And then they sell out, and you think when they're passing laws they're getting huge bribes. They ran the numbers. I don't remember who did it, but it's like in the thousands. You're not getting tens of thousands or 100,000s. They're like passing these things for just chump change. That's how cheap it is.
They're pretty cheap
to buy a politician.
They're selling themselves pretty cheap, yeah.
Yeah, because it's less sketchy to do it that low, and it's all under the no one notices those numbers. So everyone out there donating to your politician, $1,000, whatever, company's going to come in and buy you for less.
Yeah,
they're going to buy the politician. You'll never know about it.
Right. Yep.
It's shitty, Jeremiah.
It is.
Do you have a solution? Because I don't.
No, unfortunately, that's the problem. It's that I know it's broken, but I don't have anything better to offer.
I know.
So I'm not with these people that say just tear it down, because that's not good enough. Like, you can't tear something down.
Something worse can always come.
Yeah, without have something to replace it. You have to replace it with something.
A few years ago, you asked me, I would have said tear it all down. I said it's all broken.
Yeah.
But then I started thinking about it, and I'm like, well,
the problem is that there is, a lot of good mixed in with a ton of bad.
Yeah.
So you tear down everything, you're getting rid of those good things too.
Oh yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. It's like, like a more concerted effort into, correction and reform is better than just tear it all down and starting from scratch. So
my best philosophy that I can come up with on the spot and I've thought about is transfer more power to individual states.
Absolutely. And that's the way it's supposed to be, by the way.
Oh yeah.
So in recent times, it's kind of shifted, and federal government has basically said, we know it's illegal, but we're doing it anyway. We have the power. Bow down.
Right.
And it's like, well, I mean, you're right about that. You do have a lot of power, and legally you're not allowed to, but the person that's supposed to enforce this is you. So
yeah. So
okay. Dang, man.
Yeah, the Snowden case.
Yeah.
About that whole thing, because it's Snowden versus federal government.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's against themselves and has to happen in a federal court, he can't give evidence to the jury because he can't talk about. So he would have to come and just say, yes, I did those things you're saying. Can't give any reasons.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, that's why he's not doing it.
Yeah.
Because if you're suing the government,
I mean, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, we know it's not fair. Like what's his face that did all the, from Project Veritas, it did the undercover videos of Planned Parenthood, basically exposing what they've sworn up and down, left and right. We do not sell baby body parts. They do. He proved it. Here's the video. Here's them talking about it. They are bringing like 9 felony charges against him.
Oh, I don't know.
For doing that.
Yeah, for whistleblowers, which is weird.
Right.
Yep.
And that's what I don't know who the quote is attributed to, but basically the quote is, when reporting a crime is treated harsher than the crime itself, obviously you got a problem.
Yeah, that's Snowden. And he said, for anyone that watches this and gets mad, because for some reason some people still are anti-Snowden, I don't know why. He did great things for the American country who brushed over it and don't care anymore.
Here's the thing. Like, it's the same concept that we keep criticizing police for, about saying, why don't you do anything about these bad apples? Like, it's the same thing. It's the same concept. He's saying we have bad apples in our government.
Yeah.
The government's behaving badly. Here's what's going on.
Yeah, and he showed everyone.
And then they're like, oh, we should lock him up.
And that's what they wanted. But
why would we lock up someone who's trying to do that very thing that you're criticizing police for and saying, why don't you do this? That's why, is because when the good police,
call out the bad cops.
Call out the bad ones,
the good ones
they are
fired.
the ones that get punished worse than the bad ones. That's just how it works. That's why they don't do it. It's because of you people.
Right. And his whole thing is he has said a million times, I don't admit to not doing it. He's like, I obviously did what they're accusing me of. It could be a crime. I mean, some secrets came out, and all he said is, I want a fair trial, a public trial.
Right.
But you want to have a trial alone, me versus you, and you're the court.
Right.
Like, I can't win. It's not a fair trial. You're just going to lock me up immediately.
Right.
There's no...
Which is unconstitutional.
Yeah, well,
so...
It is.
Yeah.
I'm...
But again, we're led by politicians who believe that the Constitution is outdated and, shouldn't even be considered anymore. It's like, how can you be in leadership of a country whose very, like foundation you disagree with? It's like, why are you leading this country?
And it's also...
Get out of here. Go lead some other country.
It's an ego thing, too.
Yeah.
It's like, because Snowden or a good cop calls out someone, they're just doubling down. They don't want to be wrong, so they want to punish the person that called them out.
Right.
So big bad government, whoever, it's a lot of organizations, but they see that Snowden made them look bad.
Mm-hmm.
They want him gone.
Yeah.
Because they don't want people to make you look bad. They want to make an example out of him so it doesn't happen again.
Yep. I mean, and unfortunately, it's a big thing with, people in general. Like I said, it's that whole, like you said, getting embarrassed or from being called wrong or, whatever. But the fact, like, just recently, like, you have all of the gaffes that Biden's made and people ask him about it, like, hey, what's going on with this? Why, when you said this, it was interpreted this way. And he's like, I never said that. And he's like, it's on video. Like, how can you deny that you said it? You said it. Those words came out of your mouth.
I'm unaware.
You said it never happened.
What's happening?
What?
What is that?
Oh, just different gaffes that he's made about, like, talk, like, basically.
Oh, I thought you said gas. I thought you said gas. I was
Errors.
confused because I saw that
he made a boner. Yeah.
Yeah, we're unloading.
Yeah.
Gas from our reserves.
Oh yeah. Thanks. Yeah, I'll do. Yeah.
Which is the most that's ever been done, though.
Yeah. But definitely not the move that he should be doing. But he won't do the move that he should because he's already come out and stated that, day one, we're not doing that.
Well, we know that he doesn't have the call.
He signed the executive order. He signed it day one. If he had done nothing, his whole presidency would be better if he had done nothing. Simply do nothing.
A lot of people have said that.
And we would be a lot better.
Even his supporters have said
that.
But I still think presidents do nothing. I'm sorry if you love your president. It's one guy.
His day one in office set him up for failure. Day one. He's like, we're overturning everything that Trump did. Boom, there you go. It's done.
And I think it would have happened whoever won on the Democrat side, because it was not Biden. It was the Democrats. Yes. They're like, same for the other side.
We need someone in the office that's going to undo everything that Trump did.
Yeah,
like,
and
are you going to even evaluate whether it was good or bad? No, it was. If it came from Trump, it's bad.
Yep. And
it's
the same goes.
You're a zealot. You can't, like, here's the thing. I understand you don't like the guy, but did he do things that were good for the country? Yes or no? I don't care. I want him gone. I want him reversed. It's like, I can't. At that point, like, you honestly, you deserve to be hurt by these, your own, fervent, zealotry.
The party is not doing well for themselves with their own supporters.
What's funny is that, AOC has said, like, told Biden, like, if you don't go further left, we're going to lose in November.
Oh, like, yeah, it's true. They're going to lose the farther left votes for sure.
They're going to lose those, sure. But if he goes further left, you're going to lose the rest of the traditional Democrats. Yeah. So you cannot pick up the fringe and think that's what's going to win you. So
yeah, no.
Stop pursuing the fringe is what I'm saying. On both sides, honestly.
Well,
don't pursue the fringe.
That's what we're doing. That's why it's getting farther.
Exactly. The majority of the country lives closer to the center. Like, those are the people that you need to support And
well, you're not taking into account those aren't the crazy people that are online all the time. Like that's.
But see that I had this conversation earlier. They were talking about this small minority that are the loudest. It's like,
right.
And I was saying, like, just because you can hear them doesn't mean they're right.
But that's not, I mean, if you're watching the news and media and you take all your information from Facebook, the fringe stuff is what you're going to see most.
Sure.
But I want to circle back to the ego hurt because it was on Reddit. It was a woman on a plane. Did you see it?
No. I saw. Was it Southwest? Is that what it is, or something?
I don't know.
I think Fleckus had a bit about that. I haven't watched.
But it was ridiculous because the lady doesn't want to wear a mask, and they tell her, they're like, hey, you got to put your mask on. She's like, well, I'm eating, and she's not eating, but that's her excuse. So they say, okay, well, we need to take you off the plane if you're not going to put it on when you're not eating.
Yeah.
And then she goes, so then passengers start getting mad because they're not taking off now because they're waiting for this girl. So they start saying it, and she goes, it's funny because it's a white Karen.
Yeah.
And she says, well, it's time for us to take a stand. And she basically says she's almost like Rosa Parks to a black woman, which is you're just already in the wrong demographic here. And it's like, well, now you went from you were eating to now you're taking a stand. Like, which one are you doing? Yeah. And then they go, well, if
here's the thing, like, as dumb as it is, I don't agree with it. And someone made a great point about like how air circulation works on planes. It's actually fresher than
it is. Yeah.
Just normal air around here. But still, like, they are so trigger happy to put you on that no fly list.
So they don't have. They're not getting on the federal no fly list. No, it's just a soft list. They call it's just the airplanes. But what's really crazy is they tell this woman that they're going to have to take her off the plane. And to do that, you have to make everyone go off.
Sure. Yeah.
And they tell her this. And she's like, well, you do what you have to do. So now people are getting really upset. And then they tell everyone, like they come on and they're like, everyone needs to leave the plane. So now everyone's really mad.
Yeah. And you're not gonna get support from people.
And she looks happy about it. Mm. And one of the ladies goes, I hope they let you make it to Cabo because when you do, you're gonna catch some hands. Like won't. My thing with that is I don't, whether you're okay with wearing it or not, or you do or you don't. It's like you've signed up to do this.
Sure.
You have to. When you're buying your ticket, when you get your itinerary, when you're in the airport.
Yeah.
Now you're sitting on the plane and they're telling you people at least an hour, and you're gonna lose your takeoff time.
Yeah.
You would rather do that than. You already know you have to do it when you got on the plane.
So here's the thing. So, granted, it is like whether you want to believe it or not, it is a slippery slope with stuff like this. Like the mask is insignificant. It is.
Mm-hmm.
But the line that I draw, and unfortunately, it's going to happen. They're pushing it. Is basically this registry. Canada's trying to push their whole like app and thinks
I don't think it's going to happen here. Some airlines have already dropped the mask thing, and it's like I know people were worried because it could be a slippery slope, like 9/11 was. Like we'll never have.
Yes. Now we're always stuck with a completely farcical TSA that does nothing.
So for this
except inconvenience people.
In the beginning, I could see the worry for the slippery slope, but as we're seeing it already go away, it's like these people like her that are willing to just waste everyone's time just to fight something that's already going away.
That's a great example of, society completely changing forever from one event.
Right.
Like, we're going to be left with things from this event forever. Like that will never go away. What they are, I don't know yet.
I thought we would too, but as we're getting farther away from it, the work from home, which I'm super happy about because that was
I like it.
It was already an archaic thing, so I'm glad that that's brought
Yep.
It forced companies to no longer just be like.
I'm a little worried though that my boss had to attend a meeting about being more productive, but like strategy meeting.
That's weird. I want to say our company.
I can tell you what the reason is. Like there's only one right now, and that's we are understaffed. That's it.
But what's nuts
I cannot get all this stuff done because there's too much to get done.
our company's already proven that we're more efficient from home.
Right.
The studies have already come out. Most companies have.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the understaffing's huge for everyone. But so that's the only thing I'm really seeing that's long-lasting. There's not going to be any, like, you have to wear a mask to go everywhere, which some people were worried about. Like, that's going to be for everything.
For a minute there, it looked like that.
It did.
For sure.
It did, yeah. So I was with you because I was worried in the beginning, too.
Right.
But I don't see that happening. So I'm trying to think of what else could. Some people will be more cautious.
Right.
But I don't think super lasting. Like, we've talked about on the podcast, the mask thing wasn't weird to me. Working in a foreign company.
Sure.
That's already another culture. Like, when they're sick, they just do it.
That's not, and yeah, exactly. I was of that opinion even before a global pandemic, is that it makes sense for if a person's sick, that they wear a mask in public.
Yeah, it made sense.
It's common sense. It's common courtesy, actually.
Yeah, it is. Well, to stay home, too, I know I've been blessed to work at companies that don't want you there sick.
Yeah.
But other people don't have that. They want you to come in, and now they're more cautious.
Right.
Which is good for people. I'm seeing a lot of good things coming.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there might be one or two bad things to stick around forever. I can't think of them off the top of my head. Actually, prices of everything.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of other factors.
Oh, I mean, honestly, like I said, like this type of an event is so rare that to not take advantage of that as a company is foolish.
That's the thing. So they raised their prices by not by choice, by need in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Things did go expensive, but now that they've seen people will pay it,
right?
They're not going to revert back.
No, why would you?
Yeah, so
why would you?
That's definitely that could have happened with any event, but I can see
the only way that
here.
You would do that is if you were forced to. That's it,
well,
and forced to by the consumer. The consumer stops buying your product.
Not going to happen.
No,
it's not.
Yep, because it would require everyone to do that, and everyone won't do that.
Yeah. Well, have you seen Grand Theft Auto's new subscription service?
No.
I guess they have like an online subscription service now.
Yeah.
So there's been a campaign to go around to kind of boycott for, I don't know, a week, I think, just to show that they don't want it because it's stupid. There's going to be enough people that do it anyway that they're not going to.
Right.
Rockstar's not going to get rid of it.
That's why microtransactions are still a thing and in every game, is because not everyone does it. The majority of people don't do it, but there are a few who really do it. Like those whales, like they spend so much money on these microtransactions that it just makes sense. Like, why wouldn't you put it in there as a developer? Like, look how much money you can make. And actually someone like towards the beginning of the whole microtransaction, thing, like when it was like before it was a common practice, there was I think it was at GDC, a guy gave a presentation like, here's how to be evil. Like, you want to make money? This is how you do it. I'm saying don't do this, but here's how you do it.
Yeah. I think it's okay in free-to-play games as long as it's not pay to win.
Right.
Because that's how they're making their money. That makes sense. But if someone shells out, let's just use Gran Turismo, $60 for a new game, and you make it so hard to do anything without paying more, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And I think Gran Turismo, whoever makes them, has learned very fast. They've just killed one of their biggest games.
Right.
Because I know some games can wait, like, who else runs on it? I don't play a lot of games with microtransactions.
And that's the thing, like, from that one that decision to do that, with even if they were to reverse course and say, you know what, we've listened to you, we're not going to do, what we had planned. We're gonna make XP easier to get. We're not gonna sell cars for as much. All these things that, like, and every single point that you made that we're basically reversing our decision on. The damage is done.
It is done.
So there are people that be like, I don't care. Like, you've told me your corporate philosophy.
It would take them 2 games. They'd have to release 2 games perfect before people start getting into it.
Yes.
And I'm not
you either prove to me that you are making the game for me and not to make yourself rich.
And you said, in case they ever watch this, you said make cars cheaper. You should not have to buy more cars in a racing game.
Yes.
It's very strange that you would have to do that.
Yeah.
Like, this should be your list of cars. Cosmetic, if you want to charge for cosmetics, all you want. I have no problem with that. If you do extra work to make different cosmetics, as long as it doesn't change gameplay, that's fine. In a paid-for game.
Yeah.
But the fact that I could pay $60 for a game and someone spends another $100 and they get cars that I'll never have,
right?
Why would I buy your game?
Yeah.
Just put those cars in it.
Right.
It shows you've already built them.
Right.
Why didn't you include them?
They're already in the game, yeah.
Same with...
You won't let me use it because I haven't paid the gate fee.
Right,
yeah.
And the same goes for map packs. I think that's stupid too. Expansions, I was cool with. I bought them all for the Elder Scrolls games because they give you more.
Yeah.
You're getting more game that came later.
Right.
So I was all right
and
with
we're
that.
not just talking about a track. We're talking about 30 to 50 hours worth of content.
Exactly. Yeah, and they used to come on disc, like Oblivion expansions. They had Shivering Isles and something else. It was, at first I thought Shivering Isles, I paid the $20, $30, and I was like, okay, this is a cool mission. Then you find out there's basically a whole nother map.
Yeah.
With 100 more dungeons, 500 more side quests. Like you said, 50 hours of gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, this was way worth it.
Right.
It was like buying another game.
Exactly. Yep, that I know I'm already going to like because
I've already played it.
It's continuing it in the world that I'm enjoying right now. Yeah.
So.
Right.
But yeah, the microtransactions, so Diablo 4 just released more gameplay. I'm a huge Diablo fan. I see there's a lot of speculation of how it's going to be. They're saying it might go back to like 3, which had started to have microtransactions and marketplace. There's been so much of people saying, no, don't do this, that I want to see what they're going to do. As you've said, Blizzard was one of the companies you liked.
Yeah.
They've really crushed a lot of their games.
Their fall was astronomical. They went from position number 1 to last.
And even before all of their scandal, like their games, they were just taking their names and just crushing them for pennies.
Yeah.
They're just destroying everything they worked for.
Right. Yeah.
And I hope they did good by the fans with Diablo 2 Resurrected, because it was what they said. They said, hey, we're going to put out the same game remastered, no changes. And the little changes they made were you could create weapons that weren't ladder only, which is cool. It only benefits the people that weren't playing on ladder. And then they changed, for console, they had to make a few changes, but I can't fault them for that. It's not PC port to a console's got to be hard. So they did good. A lot of people were happy with it. And now if you come out with Diablo 4 and just piss all over it.
Isn't Diablo Immortal supposed to come out soon? Finally?
I don't know. I've signed up for the beta for so long.
Yeah. And I saw an ad when I was updating another app.
The gameplay looks pretty good.
It said coming soon. So,
but if they don't,
I haven't seen.
If they bog it down, it looks like Diablo 2, but on your phone. So probably a little simpler, but Diablo is always point and click. So I mean that's very easy to do on a phone. I would love it unless it's a pay to win thing.
Right.
Riddled with microtransactions.
I guarantee you there will be. It's a phone app.
I know. I guess phone is above PC and console in in money.
Oh yeah.
Like that
yes.
People laugh at mobile gaming, but it
is big business.
It's huge. It's bigger than PC and console combined.
Right.
It's nuts how much they make.
Let's make it easy. They make it easy to click that button and there you go.
I can't say I've ever bought anything in-game microtransaction-wise.
Yeah?
I bought expansion packs. I've bought the Battle Pass on Fortnite, but I had a free one, so I'm really not spending any more money as long as I earn the next one.
Yeah.
But nothing's been... Although, Fortnite, if you're listening, if you bring back Grogu, able to follow you around because you had to unlock it, I was too late. If you bring him back for $5 for a skin, I'm buying him. I don't care. I'll pay anything to have a baby Grogu follow me around while I play around in Fortnite. Yeah, he sat in his little...
But only $5?
Yeah, I'm not paying 10. 5 I would pay. I have a weird thing where I look at something and I'm like, how much is that? And say it's 25. I'm like, I would have paid 20. It's like, for some reason, it's always just like a little bit lower. Sure. And I don't know if mentally that's how it is.
You know what? I almost like when I was texting you back about that laptop, I was going to say, if it were this, I'd get it, But
well, I do. I mean,
but for me, it's ridiculous. Like $800 laptop. If it was $200, I'd buy it.
Yeah,
it's never going to be $200.
Me too. I would buy it for $200.
It's like, that's a no-brainer. Yeah.
Yeah. Nick just told me, he's like, oh, we got our UPS guy that comes into work delivered my tires to work And he said, hey, I've got this ATV, doesn't really run right. I paid $300 for it. I just want my money back out of it. And I was like, I'll buy it. Nick's like, no, I'm buying it. I'm like, I don't even know what it is, and I'll buy it. Like a 4-wheeler for $300 with all the parts there. It's just old. Yeah, I'll buy it. I mean, it's so cheap. And he's like, that's why I'm gonna buy it. I'm like, do you know exactly what it is? He's like, no, but it's $300. And I was like, yeah, exactly, of course. Because when there's a deal, I know they say don't shop on Black Friday if you don't already want something.
Right.
But there are screaming deals. Like if that laptop was $200, buy it.
Yeah.
If for some reason there was a price fix on a new Xbox for $200, even though I have a PS5, I'm buying it.
Right.
Don't need it, but 40% off, like, it's a good deal. I'll use it.
Yeah.
Why not?
Right. Mm-hmm.
TVs, man, I've passed up so many good deals. Like this 65 was $200, and I needed one, so I bought it. But like I've seen the deal come up again, and I'm like, well, the only place I could put it's the bedroom. I don't need a like it's such a good deal that I have to stop myself from buying it.
Just buy a couple and just do like a grid,
Right. I was thinking, I was like, well, 65 in the room would be huge, and then my irrational brain's like, it'd be sweet to have in the garage. Like a 65-inch garage TV, like
right?
For what? Like, yeah, guys, come on over. We'll work on the 4-wheeler. Dude, you got 65-inch? That's great. 4K.
Yeah.
Just watch a YouTube video on how to fix this part in 4K.
It's funny because, like, like this doesn't look too big in this room.
No.
But I have a bigger bedroom, and my 43-inch looks enormous in there.
It is weird for the sizing. So like my dad's got an open living room, and he's got a 75 or 80. And I swear every time I'm over there, it's smaller than my 65.
Oh.
But like if I put my 65 in there, it'd be way smaller.
Right.
And that's his problem because it's a bigger wall. It just makes it look smaller. And he always wants to go bigger. It's like, it's weird how, your perception can be changed.
Yeah, because I don't have it against a wall is the thing. Like mine's sitting kind of in the middle of the room.
Right.
So that's really the issue. That's why it's too big for that type of layout. Like if I put it on the wall.
Why don't you put it on the wall?
Because of how my room is laid out.
Why don't you change your layout?
Because there'd be a lot of work, and I'm lazy, and I like my room the way it is.
I like changing the layout every now and then.
I might have to do that because the reason being is because right now I don't have any room for my easel, and so I need to reorganize stuff.
Oh, you know what? Talk to my dad. He has built a 2-spec axe throwing thing.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's built one. He has one in his backyard.
Yeah?
So if you do want to go over there and we decide to build one, he's already done it.
Yeah?
He's got all the... he has all the tools to do it. But
right.
I could find out what kind of wood he needs. Then I told him how you'd like to have a forge one day.
Yeah.
And his words were, fuck it, put it in your mom's backyard. What's she going to do?
Here's the thing.
Forge.
Like, just having a forge is one thing, but like the noise of hammering is something you got to consider as well.
No?
So.
For who? Who are you considering it for?
I have a lot of neighbors, so.
Yeah, fuck them.
Yeah.
Do you like your neighbors? Irrelevant. Doesn't matter. You do it anyway. I don't know. I could see you doing forge stuff. Now, if you had a forge, do you have like a project in mind that you'd want to do first?
I actually want to. I'm not really into like making knives, even though that's kind of the thing that people want to do.
It's faster and easy. It's a small project.
Make knives, but I want to make first. Projects, obviously learn how to work metal is going to be a lot of that.
Right.
But then once I know how to do it, then I want to make tools, other blacksmithing tools, different types of hammers, that kind of stuff. And then I want to make axes.
Okay.
And then eventually, once I get to be 90 years old, then I want to make a katana. That's the ultimate.
That's the ultimate goal.
That's the last project. Yeah.
To make
once I finish the katana, I die. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you have a specific style of katana or metal? Or?
Traditional Japanese, traditional like everything, from construction, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's what I want to do.
Do you want to go out and mine it yourself? I'm just wondering.
That would be cool. Yeah, that would be cool to do everything. Yeah, I haven't thought that far.
But my end game for my dream guitar would be to find a piece of alder, and not hand cut it, but use tools to cut it. I can buy blanks and the pieces and put it together how I want.
Yeah.
But end goal would to be, I'd still make it to Fender spec because I like Fenders, and I'm not going to screw something that's been working since the 50s. It doesn't make sense. But I would want to carve it out, myself, all but the neck. I mean, end game I would love to, but the neck of a guitar looks really hard to do, and a fretboard. Like actually getting the small pieces of rosewood. And
I've been watching a lot of Hugby's How It's Actually Made.
Yeah.
And he does one on guitars, yeah.
Oh, does he? Is it an acoustic guitar?
No, it's an electric guitar.
Really?
Yeah.
Check that out. Does he show how to make the neck?
Yeah, they show it, yeah.
It looks complex.
It does, yeah.
It looks very complex.
Right.
But like the body, especially for electrics, very simple. Not very simple. I mean, you can't just go out and do it, but like to shape it and route it would be rough.
It's funny because he says something about, like, when he's talking about the neck construction, like, he's like, he's gluing this second piece of wood onto this piece of wood for no reason at all. It's just a joke.
Oh, really?
Yeah, something like that. Something along those lines, yeah.
My dad's
Have you ever watched his series of How It's Actually Made?
No, I'm going to watch that one.
It's a joke.
Oh, the whole thing?
It's a joke, yeah. So he takes like How It's Made videos and then dubs over them.
Oh, I'm going to watch it, though.
Yeah, what's funny is that CNN or some other news organization actually like posted his How Bread Is Made video.
All wrong.
Thinking it was real.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
And so people are like, this is inappropriate. I was like, what is, it's like it's
they didn't
parody.
Even realize.
Wow. It's a joke. Yeah.
I'm going to watch it. It sounds interesting. Are they long?
No, there's a few minutes long each, yeah.
Oh, cool.
So couple minutes, yeah.
I was thinking it was going to be a long thing.
No.
My dad's got...
Some of them are hilarious. They're very good, yeah.
He's got redwood slabs from California, like live edge redwood.
Mm-hmm.
And my goal would be to make a bunch of guitar bodies until I'm good enough to have... Redwood's not a wood that most people make out of guitars.
No.
But to have one carved and stained just for the wall would be so cool to know that was a redwood tree turned into it would just look beautiful, and it would be an art piece.
Yes.
It's a piece of art.
Right.
Which is mainly what I make my guitar for. They're just
right.
It's simple enough to do with my hands. It's art. It takes time, and you can enjoy it by looking at it.
Right.
And plucking at it like I do, but that's my art. I tried blacksmithing. I tried making a railroad tie knife.
Yeah.
Went all right. We didn't have a full forge. We basically used a wood stove, but just cranked it, putting more air to get to the heat, heating it, fully, and just hammering it, like no power tools. I was just hammering on a railroad tie.
Yeah.
And the end goal was to do a twisted handle. So heat it, like twist it so it had a spiral for the handle, but it was taking so long to get so hot. And, the twists, you can only get a little bit before you got to get hot again.
Right.
But it turned out halfway decent for a high school me to be messing around with it. But besides that, like, it's a lot of work, and for you, it sounds really fun, and building a guitar for you probably sounds really boring. You're like, what? I don't care about that. But forging would be sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, I did buy the current guitar that I have with the intention of modding it, and just never did. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They're fun because there's so many little tweaks you can do. And every little tweak makes it sound a little different. I'm not going to say better or worse. It's just... And I was shocked, too, when I started learning. I'm like, there's no way that it will sound any different. It's a block of wood with magnets. But little changes. There's just something about it. It sounds different. It's weird.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's just strange. It's not like a violin where clearly a $100 violin and a $10,000 violin. That's way different.
Yes.
Like there's just no comparison. Same with
acoustic
guitars. There's no comparison. A $100 acoustic versus a $10,000 acoustic. No way.
Right. Yeah.
Your dad's got a really nice guitar. When I first met him, he showed it to me, told me to strum it. It sounded amazing. Then he told me how much it was worth. And I said, please take this out of my hands. I was like, I do not need to be touching this guitar. This is not for me. And one of the guys, when Joy brought me to Elderly, was like, hey, check this one out. Look at the price. I'm like, I'm getting sweaty. I don't even...
My fingerprints will ruin it.
Why am I touching this? And he's like, what do you like to play? And I was like, mainly dick joke songs, but $20,000 guitar is fine to pluck around.
Yeah.
It's expecting some classical chords, and it's like, let me play this little riff here.
Right.
By a little band called Blink 182. I don't know.
Yes.
Very classical, 1800s.
Right. Yes, that's why I go in there and they're like, hey, why don't you play something on there? It's like, I only know how to play Stairway.
Oh.
They're like, okay, never mind.
Never mind. Don't do that.
That's it. That's the only song.
I feel so weird going to guitar stores. They're there so you can plug in guitars and play them.
Right.
But I feel weird.
Yes.
You're collecting something and plug it in, and like people watch you, and you're like,
right?
Don't.
Let me judge you.
Do
you
good.
Actually know how to play this?
Nothing good's coming out of this. Yeah, don't look at me. Yeah, they're probably like, why is it? That's what I think. I think they're looking, why is that guy even trying to plug it in?
Yes.
What does he care?
Why is he in this store?
Right.
He shouldn't be buying a guitar.
Yeah, the Motor City Guitar, that huge guitar store. It's like so huge and so many guitars. Mm-hmm. I'm like looking at them, and I just feel like all the eyes are like, why is he looking at that one?
Right.
Why is he doing? And I always feel the need to like.
Does he know something that I don't know?
Yeah, like if they talk to me,
he seems like an idiot to me.
Yeah, I'm
pretty sure he's an idiot.
I try and throw out like words. I'm
yeah.
Like, I was looking for like a hardtail or like try anything. Like I'm not completely new, but like I know what I'm looking for. I'm not just in here going this is a green one,
right?
But that's how my mom was when we went.
Yeah,
she has no idea, and she's like, "Well, what about this one?" I'm like, "Mom, that is way out of what I want to play." I'm like, maybe if I want to play jazz, Mom, what do I look like a jazz musician?
You might be. Yep.
I could. Well, I guess looking at me now, I look like a folk. Look like a folk guy.
Write some folk songs.
Yeah. What were we? You were talking about those how-to videos. Oh, newscasting. I got a clip to show you. This is pretty good.
Yeah.
Maybe one day I could probably set up for. Maybe not with this computer. It might break.
No. Yeah, that'd be a bad idea. Upgrade first before clips.
Right. Let's see. This is. Man, I want to find the actual clip. It was a news. She came out and claimed it was scripted, but you can tell watching it it's not scripted. Let me find.
What is it? News fails? Is that?
It is like a news fail.
Stuff? Yeah.
It was on,
one of my favorite ones is when that bug shows up in that guy.
Oh yeah, when he goes hood or whatever it's called. Yeah.
Oh, it's hilarious. Yeah.
Got these goddamn bugs in my motherfucking mouth. He just like goes out like he's all real
right.
Calm. Yeah.
Just professionalism just gone. There's a bug.
There was one where they're burning opium, I think, or weed, and the guy's doing a report on it. Have you seen that one?
Yeah.
And he gets so high and he just keeps laughing like he can't keep it together.
Right?
News fails are great. Okay, I think I found the clip. God, how many ads come up on the... Where'd the video go? It's not... It says video. Look at this. Look how many ads are just scrolling ads.
Well, you need ads. Like, they're important.
Okay,
they're enjoyable. That's what you're looking for, right? They're ads.
Okay, here we go.
To the politics and all those woke storylines in so many shows today. I was watching an episode of You where measles came up. Wait. When did I mention measles? I don't know. It was on You. What was on me? What are you talking about? Is Rick hearing what I'm saying? I never had the measles. What's on You?
There's a show called You. She claims it was scripted.
It was an episode of a show, Laura. What's it called? You. It's called You. I've never done a show on measles. I just completely give up. We gotta get it. It's a show called You on Netflix. There's a show called Laura on Netflix. What are you talking about? I'm moving on to Adele. I can't explain this to you. The pop singer had an
Yeah, and she claimed that was scripted. That didn't look scripted. Like,
no, it wasn't.
You would have
she
to be
was legitimately confused.
You would have to be a fantastic actor.
Like, it's you can explain it away like that, by saying, it was an homage to Who's on First. I mean, come on.
Right.
That's what it was.
No, that was rough because you could tell him being frustrated and not knowing.
Right.
Or she's a wonderful actress and she should be hired immediately.
Right? I'm auditioning.
Yeah, it's a good way to spin it because the people that watch her are probably like, oh, yeah, of course it was scripted. She's not that dumb.
Sure, yeah.
But, yeah, that's a fantastic one. It's like there's a show called You on Netflix. There's a show called Lori on Netflix. He's just like, never just forget about everything.
Let's move on.
Not even worth it.
Right?
But yes, those
all that reminds me of that one, just like, engaging your brain type of stuff where you're asking, what does EYES spell?
Oh, did you watch when the guy in the car do it?
Yes. Yeah.
That one's so great. And he's like, ES. That should have been on Contagious. I saw it on, I don't know, like funny, but it should have been on Contagious Laughter. Cause it was like happy. Like no one's making fun of it. It just, the whole vibe felt great.
Yeah.
It was like him laughing at himself and
it's like, it's what it's, what's the deal? Like,
I've been tricked by those, like the toast. Like I forget what you keep saying.
Yeah.
They want you to say most or something. They go, what do you put in a toaster? And you're like, toast. Gotcha. Right away. And it's like, no, you put bread. Bread goes in the toaster.
Right?
Not toast.
I don't know, man. I double toast my toast.
Do you?
I mean, I do put toast in the toaster.
My grandpa, and this is going to sound weird, but he used to toast his bread to like golden brown, and then you put butter on it and throw it in the microwave for like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
So it's still a little crunchy, but you get the soft middle of the butter. I don't know. It was fantastic. And it's old people microwaves. My grandma used to make Eggos, and then she'd put butter and syrup on them after they've been toasted and throw them in the microwave. So it's basically like
then you get warm butter and warm syrup in there.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you get cold butter and cold syrup.
But it's like
on a warm Eggo.
It becomes soggy. I could put like 3 waffles and just cut into them and just eat. I don't know. It's very bad for you. So much sugar in the morning, but man, it tastes good.
Right?
And it's weird because they're so soft. It's like you're like slurping them down, and I'm like, oh, I love sugar in the morning.
Right?
I'm sure you've seen this. It's not a clip. I mean, there is a clip. I won't play.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's a great.
Right?
Call in. They don't catch it. So for the people watching, it was for a flight crash, an airplane, and someone called in fake and said, "I'm the pilot," and they said the names of who died, and it was Wee Too Low, Holy Fook, and Bang Ting Ow. And I'm sure they spelled it out, but then the person just reads it and they don't understand.
Right.
It's all those same ones like that.
Yeah. And that did happen.
Like that's real.
They read it legit like here's breaking news. We've identified them.
Yeah. Too low.
Then we're like, "Oh crap, I'm a racist by accident."
I mean, there's a lot of radio shows that they try and call in for birthdays, and they're like, "Oh, my name's Huge Anus." However you out there, and I don't care how old you are. It's funny when you hear a professional say funny things. It's great.
Right?
It's very great. I'm trying to think of anything that else. They also do crank calls to like Tradio. Have you ever heard of Tradio?
No.
They're radio stations. I think they mainly happen in the South. It's almost like Craigslist. Like every morning they do a radio show, and they take calls and they're like, "What are you selling today? What do you want for it?" And then other people will call in and they try and make a deal through a broker. But they call in with ridiculous stuff, and they have things going on in the background. But the Tradio host doesn't know. Like they just they just think it's it's real.
Yeah, reminds me of those fails of people trying to sell mirrors. Have you seen those?
The pictures of people?
Yes.
Yeah, where they're like hanging in. Yeah, and they can't get a good picture of it.
Right?
It's like, just take a picture of the mirror. It's like, it's not that hard.
Right?
Yeah. I love seeing pictures of for sale ads or like selfies, and there's always super weird stuff in the bed that they don't know about.
Right, yeah.
Like I saw a picture, I think it was on Reddit or in the news, a guy had his Facebook profile picture for like 5 years. Girlfriend's personal toy was in the shower behind over his shoulder. You'd have to zoom in though.
Yeah.
And most people aren't clicking on your profile picture to zoom in, but he's like, for 5 years, I had this as a public profile picture.
I saw one where a girl was taking a selfie in the bathroom and didn't realize that there's a whole dookie in the toilet. Yeah. It's like, how? Like no toilet paper, just like,
oh, what?
How?
Straight to the shower, and then she got on, she's like, I'm looking good. Snapped a picture. Oh.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are funny.
Right?
Those things still crack me up. I mean, the newscasting ones are always great when they misspeak, or they say, I don't know, like sex or butt, like, and they don't mean to, and it just makes it funny. And then them getting flustered.
That one guy, he's like, check your panties. I mean, pantries. That says pantries.
Yeah,
this story makes a lot more sense now.
Yeah, or when they get into it and they keep reading and you can see they're confused about what they're talking about.
Right.
But it's hard. We had a news lab in my school, full on studio, all the breakers, so people could learn.
Yeah.
And I did it a couple times reading, and it's so hard to read. You're just reading a teleprompter. To just read that off because you're reading what they write.
Yes.
You have no other option. And you're just trying to make it personable.
Yeah.
And so, like, whatever comes up.
But the comprehension isn't happening because you're like...
Yeah, you're just reading.
You're reading live, and you're not actually processing
what
the words mean.
Yeah. So they could you could almost put anything in there.
Yes.
It's just going to... The person's just going to say it instinctively because you have to.
Right.
So
that's where the whole, Ron Burgundy character, came from. Is that whole concept. Like, what if you took this to its ridiculous... point. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
Whatever shows up on the teleprompter, that's what people say. Like, gotta be careful with Ron Burgundy because whatever you put on there, he's gonna say it. What's that?
It's weird that we still do it. I know it keeps it good.
Yeah.
But to me, like overly scripted things, which the news is, it just never feels.
There are some channels that I watch that don't use teleprompters at all, and it is noticeable because
it feels more real.
It does, but it also, like, you find that you retread the same ground in the same concept in that moment. Like, you're saying the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, that is
because you're giving the same examples, so you're saying the same thing over and over again.
The news you're talking about, do they have sheets of paper?
No.
Oh, okay. So
they're just like, I'm trying to make a point.
I think that's
and they end up saying the same thing over and over again.
Gotcha. That's the medium. I feel like they should have bullet points or something that they could always look down on.
Yes.
That way they can still talk about it.
Right.
And they're not reading straight off. Like, you can get your points out.
The people that do that, it is that is very helpful. Yep.
Yeah.
That they actually have,
I suggest to anyone that's doing public speaking, like the first time I ever spoke to a group, I guess publicly or somewhat public, private group, I just wrote out everything I was going to write.
Yeah.
And it comes out really weird.
Right.
And then if you deviate from what you're reading, you lose your place and it's all weird. I suggest if you're going to make bullet points.
Absolutely.
Same with PowerPoints. I've seen so many people just read off of it.
And that's the problem with, with things like that, giving a speech, like if you're not very good at memorization, like trying to memorize a speech is bad because if you forget the next line, boom, you're lost. Your train of thought is gone. But if you have bullet points and you're just like, I know what I want to say about this. Yeah. I'm not going to plan it out. I'm not going to overly script it. Like, I have to say this in this order. Then, that's much more natural.
And same with PowerPoints. Like, at jobs I've worked, they're just reading off it, and it's boring.
I hate that. People that put a wall of text in a slide.
Yeah.
It's like, you're just reading me what I can read on the screen.
The bullet points are nice because it feels more personable. Like, if you're learning something, and up there says, I don't know, 100 police deaths 2020. I just made that up. But if you just said that, you'd read it and be like, oh, I wonder what they're going to say about this.
Right.
And then they're going to go into things. And then if you do forget, you can always look back and you're like, oh, it's the next bullet point I need to bring up.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You still have to worry. It's not foolproof way if you're not good at public speaking. It could still be bad. But
oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because
again, it's like you ramble on and on.
When my writing in school I went from really bad writing to I 100%ed the ACT writing.
Yeah.
And it was when someone, I don't even know who it was, they told me, you do great talking. Like, you tell great stories. Write it exactly like you were talking to someone.
Yeah.
Like,
that's actually how I've always written.
Forget that it's formal.
Right.
Just write it. And so, like, in one of my first research papers, like, the opening sentence was something that related to Bruce Lee. It was like, this guy was amazing and athletic like Bruce. Like, just something I would have said, to get the point across. Boom, 100% on the paper. It's a formal paper, but when you're talking, it just reads so much better. So, because I always tried to, I'm like, school, you got to ace it. It has to be the most formal thing. God, I can only imagine how boring it was for a teacher to read. And because then it was the same. You're trying to use too much data.
The thing that always frustrated my my teachers, my English teachers, is that I never did a rough draft.
Ever?
No.
When I was
what I put on paper is what I meant to say. That is my paper.
Do you just start writing it though?
Yeah.
See, I didn't, in school at least, with research papers, I would write in blocks.
Yeah.
So like it's still a draft, but I usually just use the draft, but I still write it in blocks. Like, here's an intro, here's my data, here's my refuting my own data, and then I conclude it with why that refutes wrong. So like I'm still writing it in blocks.
Yeah.
And I usually would write it in bullet points. First sentence, second sentence is going to be something like this.
Those types of exercises were always really frustrating for me because I'm like, I know the majority of people, like, this is how they write papers. This is what works for them. I don't do it that way. I don't. And
I don't think everyone does everything the same way.
Right.
There's just no way.
So it always frustrated me. Like, whenever they're like, we're writing a research paper, first assignment is to, submit an outline. It's like, I don't need an outline. I know what I want to say.
See, that's my thing. So my outline was my paper.
Yeah.
Like, they want you to have an outline and then build on it. No, I was just writing the paper in outline format, and then it was going to that.
That's basically what I ended up doing. I wrote the paper and reverse engineered the outline. There you go. There's your stupid outline.
And I never...
But that's my final paper. Like, they're like, submit a rough draft. Okay, here's my paper. All right, now submit the final.
Yeah, so...
here's the same paper.
My rough draft was always the same as the final, unless there was spelling mistakes.
Yeah.
So, like, my first draft, like I said, I'm writing like I'm talking. So I'm not really worried about how it's spelled. So, like, that would just be my rough draft. And then technically the final is just like, oh, a comma needed to be there, whatever.
Yeah.
The only thing I hated was when they're like, hey, first assignment is your intro paragraph. No. I would write the whole paper. Because I'm like, I've already like, I can't 1 week do an intro, the next week do a body. Like,
that would end up with such a disjointed paper.
That's how they would do it.
That is crazy.
Yeah, so like in my head, I'm like, well, I'm already thinking about this paper. I'm just going to write the whole thing.
But see, that's what I mean. It's like once you sit down to think about writing a paper, you basically construct the entire argument in your head.
Yeah.
And then just write it out.
Yes.
It's like, why would I start with I'm not even going to consider where I'm going to go. Here's my intro.
I think for creative people that works good, right? Because you like have an idea. I agree with the drafts or the bullet points because it helps people learn a structure. Like, now that's not how I would write a paper because I know what the structure of a paper looks like. But that's good for someone who's never written.
Right.
Because you might come out like me and just be rambling on like, this man was a wonderful, you might be talking like Trump, like, this man was a wonderful president. A wonderful president was this man. Like, like you're just
gotta get that word count.
yeah, exactly. Man, I hate word counts too. That was so weird. I didn't understand. Like, oh, you're 5 words short, you won't get full credit. Like, why? I got the whole point across in 5 less words.
Yes. For those teachers, I say, brevity is the soul of wit.
Like, shorter seems better.
Right.
All right, with that, roll us out, Jeremiah.
All right. So that was episode 26.
Maybe. You have to watch them all to find out.
Zero Intentions podcast.
Watch them all, find out.
Yep, got to collect them all. Yeah. Speaking of which, we stream live here on Twitch on Fridays, but I go and put the video on YouTube at some point during the week. It's always different.
In 4?
In 4?
4? He'll do it in 4.
Yes. Standard 4. Standard 4. Units of measurement. Yep.
4 Jeremiahs.
4 of them.
4.
Yeah. But yeah, so all of our backlog of all the episodes are on YouTube. The link to which is in the description there here on our Twitch channel description. So go on over there, leave a comment, like, share, subscribe, all the stuff that you're supposed to do on YouTube that, makes you a good person. And we'd love to hear from you. Definitely give us any suggestions on what you want to talk about or what you want us to talk about and actually join the conversation. If you want to jump in the live chat during our live streams, definitely more than welcome that.
Yep.
So, and I mean, I think I definitely had a lot of things, in this episode, more so than last episode, that were probably offensive, and
to some people.
Yeah, people are getting more and more offended these days, I think, and it's fun. But if you're one of those people, you're easily offended, and you got offended in this episode, then as always, we suggest that you zip it.
Yeah. That I was trying to quote The Office with that timeline quote. Have you seen The Office?
Yeah, I've seen The Office.
Like when Dwight says could be 2 months, and Jim's like 3 months, could be 4 months. Could see that happening. Yes. 8 months. It's a realistic timeline. It's that kind of thing, like
sure,
could be, sure, yeah, of course.
Yes.
Could it be today? It could be. It's a possibility.
Right?
Tomorrow.
It's within the realm of possibility.
I could see that happening. We're going dark, folks, as we sign off.
All right.
It's just we're working on our endings. Don't worry about it. They're high quality. You were having some lagging issues.
Right.
And you were missing some of our banter back and forth. So, thank you guys for tuning in. Goodbye.